See later in the postseason.
Here is Reddick. Well, the last time the Spurs played the Clippers here at Staples, it was not a happy time for Greg Popovich and his team. They lost in Game 7. Marvute committing the foul. They lost in Game 7 of the opening round of the playoffs and headed home. Remember, Chris Paul hit that game-winning shot with a runner in the final seconds of Game 7. And injury hit Tony Parker. Struggled. He shot just 36%, and he has come back from injuries. He has been relatively healthy this season and shooting 52% from the field. Aldridge off the fake, way off. So both clubs struggling here at the start.
And we talked about it, a long all-star break. It's about finding your rhythm individually and collectively as a team.
Anderson, a second-year man from UCLA, first-round draft pick last season, the 30th overall. The draft he has been getting the playing time, as has another young player, Jonathan Simmons, a rookie from University of Houston. Well, Pierce is feeling it this time, not able to knock down a three.
Greg Popovich has a way of developing young players and putting them in situations and having those guys come through for them at the right time in the postseason.
Parker pulling a Green, and back comes Paul. See Chris Paul directing Reddick to the corner, but tries to go to cutting Jordan. Anderson is a very good passer. Got it to Aldridge on a handoff.
Great pass, but you got to reward the big fella when he runs the court. Aldridge, one of the best rim runners in the game. And easy basket for the big fella.
4 minutes gone by. This game 2 of our TNT doubleheader. Earlier was Cleveland defeating Chicago. Matthias Testi, the assistant equipment manager, apologized to the team and the fans this past Tuesday and says that he and Testi have talked many times and they feel that, I don't know, they feel their friendship will be renewed.
And that's good to know. I played here in Los Angeles. I know them both very well. They're very good friends. Very unfortunate, out of character situation for Blake Griffin. But
well, Marv, I just spoke with Blake Griffin about 5 minutes ago, and I asked him, how do you redeem the trust of your teammates? And he said, you know what, I apologized. I had a lot on my plate at the time of the incident, including that quad injury. And he said, I just have to go back to doing what I did before, being a leader. As for that hand, as he rehabs it, guys, he told me he's almost back. It's almost healed. It's the quad that's the concern. So he feels in several weeks he'll be ready to go, especially with that quad injury.
Parker met on the switch by Marvute. Marvute did not go for the head fake. Good defense here on the sequence by the Clippers. Shot clock down to 3. Parker kicks it out. Aldridge wide open. Comes up short on the three-point attempt.
great defense by the Clippers, making Aldridge take an uncomfortable three-pointer.
Ball played on a switch by Aldridge. A dreadful first half at both ends of the court with just under 4 minutes remaining. Block shot by Aldridge. First game out of the break for both teams, and Aldridge having his difficulties here tonight. 1 for 7 from the field. Foul is called on Parker. For the Clippers, it's game 1 of a 4.
Their play and they take on some of the league's best. This is a tough stretch of the season for them. They've had a pretty easy schedule up until now, but for them, this will be a test.
Aldridge able to get inside. I know people always say easy schedule, but obviously the schedule is presented in front of you, and there are always surprises. But for Amute, Chris Paul with his 7th assist. He had 16 in the All-Star game Sunday in Toronto. He's among the leaders in the NBA as usual. Aldridge with a series of fakes and draws the foul. Timeout is called here at Staples. 8-point lead for the Clippers.
It's Girl Scout cookie time, and we have two troops selling cookies here tonight up in section 104 and 319 throughout the game. Now, when you buy cookies, you're teaching the girls how to be young business entrepreneurs. Plus, all groceries ready from cookies.
Yeah, boy! Yeah, boy! Yeah! Oh, yeah, Cole! Yeah, Cole, let's go!
An enthusiastic DeAndre Jordan, and that was the State Farm audio assist. The Spurs at the line for the first time in the half. Marcus Aldridge shooting 2, and the Spurs second in the NBA behind the Knicks in free throw shooting at 79%, but the Spurs don't get to the line very often, third fewest in the league right now.
And the Spurs are primarily now a jump shooting team as Mills.
And he has picked up his game. Chris Paul has led the NBA in assists 4 times, led the league in steals 6 times. This year he's 9 assists a game, which is 4th in the league. Number 1 is Rajon Rondo at Sacramento.
But with Blake out, he's had to score more. His minutes are up, as you said. His usage rate is up. And there's some concern in that Clipper coaching staff.
Chicago play in Oklahoma City. NBA TV on Monday. Warriors and Hawks and the Suns and the Clippers. 56-38. Clippers in front of the Spurs. Patty Mills is back to San Antonio. Aldridge took the hit. And the foul on Amute.
And that was one of the better possessions for San Antonio, moving the ball around from one side of the court to the other, and Aldridge taking advantage of the matchup and drawing the foul.
You can watch enhanced coverage with multiple camera angles on tonight's TNT game, only on TNT Overtime. Check out NBA.com/TNT Overtime. While we have a moment, congratulations to Sean Marks, who was named today as the general manager of the Brooklyn Nets. Sean, yet another GM or coach to come out of the Spurs organization. Sean Marks from New Zealand. In fact, played for the New Zealand national team and made the rounds in the NBA, including the San Antonio Spurs.
And I had a chance to play with Sean Marks in Phoenix, and was a great teammate.
DeAndre Jordan still trying to shake it off.
Could be one of those plays that the next day you're a little sore.
Off to steal. Here's Mills for 3. And it's tipped home. Crowd wanted a goaltend or an offensive interference. Aldridge with the tip. Kawhi, Stacy. Kawhi working the sideline also. DeAndre Jordan shooting just 42% from the line, but hit his first of 2. And the foul is called down low against Amute.
Let's hope that Kawhi Leonard's calf injury is nothing major. Those things sometimes can be very persistent. Health being an issue with the Spurs. Manu Ginobili, Duncan's been out at times. Tony Parker tweaked his ankle a few games ago. So they want to be fresh and ready when the postseason comes around. And of course, their best player, Kawhi Leonard, needs to be out there. Off the and ready when the postseason comes around. And of course, their best player, Kawhi Leonard, needs to be out there.
Off the steal on the 2-on-1. Paul able to convert, so he now has 9 points. And the Clippers with a 20-point advantage. As Aldridge off the spin.
And that's been the challenge, Marv, with incorporating Aldridge. He's used to isoing there on the block. But sometimes that goes against the Spurs' philosophy offensively, where you share the ball, passing and cutting, moving the ball from side to side. So they found a good balance, and he's played better as of late. But right now, just too much isolation for San Antonio Ball Club on the offensive.
Into it in the third quarter. Crawford for three. Anderson with the rebound for the Spurs. Anderson, yes. Kyle Anderson once again picked it up here in the fourth quarter. He now has 8.6 of the 8 in the fourth.
It's so hard for Anderson to get quality minutes throughout the season. The Spurs so deep. Certainly making the most of it here.
And he has been in and out.
At a point in his career where people thought he was on the decline, but with Blake Griffin out, really asserting himself as one of the top 3 point guards in the league this year.
24 of his 26 points in the second half. Paul pulling it back, his pass blocked, able to recover, try to get to Jordan down low, and Butler comes away with it. Aldridge inside, blocked from behind by Jordan, and last touch by Jordan.
And that right there was the respect for DeAndre Jordan. Aldridge catching the ball and knowing that DeAndre Jordan's close by, not concentrating on getting the finish there.
Simmons try to go to the crossover.